Fake HOA cops claimed he lied about service. His military records silenced them fast. What would you do if your life's honor was trampled by a lie in front of everyone you know? In the quiet suburb of Willow Creek, where manicured lawns and blooming community gardens were the pride of the neighborhood, a single accusation sparked a firestorm that no one saw coming. Karen Whitaker, the self-appointed queen of the Homeowners Association, stood at the center of it all, her voice sharp enough to cut glass, her eyes gleaming with righteous fury. She pointed at Marcus Reed, a reserved veteran who'd moved into the cul-de-sac 6 months prior, and declared him a fraud. "He's no hero," she sneered at the annual community barbecue, her words dripping with venom. "He's lying about his military service to scam us all." The crowd gasped, forks paused midair, and whispers spread like wildfire. Marcus, a man of few words who kept his Purple Heart tucked away in a drawer, froze, his face a mask of quiet pain. Karen's crusade wasn't born in a vacuum. It started with a petty grudge. Marcus had planted a small flower garden in his front yard, a tribute to his fallen squadmatesmarigolds for courage, poppies for remembrance. The vibrant blooms stood out in Willow Creek's sea of uniformity, and Karen, who ruled the HOA with an iron grip, hated anything that defied her vision of perfection. She'd sent Marcus violation notices, claiming his garden broke HOA rules. Marcus, calm but firm, cited his property deed, which allowed personal landscaping. Frustrated, Karen dug deeper, sniffing out rumors about his past. When she overheard a neighbor question Marcus's quiet demeanor, "He doesn't act like a war hero," she pounced. She combed through social media, twisted half-truths, and crafted a narrative. Marcus was a con man, faking his service to dodge scrutiny and gain sympathy. At the barbecue, she unleashed her accusation, holding up a printed screenshot of a vague online post as proof. The crowd, swayed by her confidence, turned on Marcus. "Liar!" someone shouted. A child threw a tomato, staining his shirt red. But Karen underestimated Marcus. He didn't shout or argue. Instead, he walked away, his silence louder than her screams. That night, he sat in his modest living room, staring at a locked metal box he hadn't opened in years. Inside were his dog tags, discharge papers, and a faded photo of his unit in Afghanistan. The memories flooded back: explosions, loss, the weight of survival. He'd never spoken of his service, not because he was ashamed, but because the scars ran too deep. Yet Karen's lie threatened to unravel everything he'd rebuilt. By morning, Marcus made a decision. He wouldn't let her rewrite his truth. He contacted an old Army buddy, Lieutenant Clarengwin, who now worked at the local VA office. Clara, a no-nonsense woman with a knack for cutting through bureaucracy, promised to help. "She's messed with the wrong vet," Clara said, her voice crackling with determination over the phone. The counterattack began quietly. Marcus requested his official military records from the National Archives, a process Clara expedited. Meanwhile, Karen doubled down. She rallied her HOA allies, plastering flyers around Willow Creek that branded Marcus a fraud, and demanded he remove his garden or face fines. She even called a special HOA meeting at the community center, turning it into a public trial. "We can't trust someone who lies about serving our country," she declared, waving her flimsy evidence to a murmuring crowd. But then came the twist no one expected. Clara arrived unannounced, her VA badge gleaming. She wasn't alone. Behind her stood Tom, the town's librarian and a Vietnam vet, who'd overheard Karen's rants and decided to dig into her own past. Tom revealed Karen's history of exaggerating her authority. She once claimed to be a retired cop to intimidate neighbors, a lie debunked by a quick records check. The room buzzed with shock. Clara stepped forward, holding a thick envelope. "Marcus isn't the liar here," she said, her voice steady but fierce. The confrontation erupted at the community center, where the annual garden showcase was set to take place. Karen, emboldened by her followers, decided to make a spectacle. She marched to Marcus's garden with shears in hand, declaring it a disgrace to the neighborhood. As cameras rolled, neighbors live streaming on their phones, she hacked at the marigolds and poppies, ripping roots from the earth. Petals flew like confetti, and the crowd's gasps turned to shouts. "Stop her!" someone yelled, but Karen reveled in the chaos, her laughter sharp and unhinged. Marcus arrived just as she tore out the last poppy, his face pale but resolute. Clara followed, holding the envelope aloft like a weapon. "This," she said, addressing the crowd, "is Marcus's DD-214, his Purple Heart citation, and letters from his commanding officer." She handed copies to the stunned HOA board. The records detailed Marcus's 3 tours, his shrapnel wounds, and the lives he'd saved. Karen's smirk faltered as whispers turned to outrage. "You destroyed a veteran's tribute for your ego?" a neighbor shouted. Another, a young mother named Sarah, stepped forward, tears in her eyes. "My brother died in Iraq. That garden meant something." Karen's empire crumbled in real time. The crowd turned, their phones now capturing her shame. She stammered, claiming she'd been misled. But Tom, the librarian, wasn't done. He revealed Karen's pattern of bullying, fines for minor infractions, threats to neighbors who questioned her. The HOA board, humiliated by their complicity, voted on the spot to remove her as president. Karen fled the scene, her shears clattering to the ground, her flyers trampled in the dirt. Marcus stood amid his ruined garden, silent but unbroken. Neighbors rallied around him, offering to replant every flower. Clara, ever practical, organized a community cleanup, turning the wreckage into a symbol of resilience. By dusk, new seeds were sown, and a small wooden sign was planted beside the garden friendship garden, reading, "In honor of Marcus Reed, a true hero." The aftermath wasn't just about flowers. It was about truth. Marcus's garden bloomed again, brighter than before, with donations pouring in from across Willow Creek. Karen moved away, her name a cautionary tale. At the next community event, Marcus spoke briefly, his